Hello, hello, everybody. This is Senex alongside Mr.
Cool.
Yes,
How's it
indeed.
going,
We are
guys?
Pull and Senex, the cast. No, no, no. We're not going to compare ourselves to Tasteless and Artosis. That's highly,
Casting our
highly
cut.
premature because they're pretty much the masters of the art, and we're just a couple of guys who are trying to get some interest in the 6 mineral field and one high yield gas variant of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, we're not quite the casting Archon, although we do feel like we do a pretty decent job of delivering content to you guys. Also, feel free to leave us some feedback and some information about how you feel about the cast, just so we can get better for you guys. So it does look like we are going to go ahead on with this game. Puget here, of course, playing our Protoss at the bottom right side of the map. And then we do have a Terran player, NYQ FunDipper, at the top left.
I like the idea of just dipping into fun as though it was like salsa or something, like
Yeah.
having cheese with or a chip with like a lot of fun on it.
You
It'd be
know,
delicious.
that's so funny. For some reason, I was just thinking of like the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. So
Um,
I was just seeing like spoons for like,
uh,
you know, whatever the dippers are. I'm not even entirely positive of what they are exactly. I think they're just like spoons, right? Like to
I
get
think they're like
things.
ladles type thing.
Yeah, ladles. I don't even know what ladles are. I feel like an idiot. But yeah. Anyways.
Getting back into the game, FunDipper immediately walled in his front ramp, making sure that that probe is not going to be able to see anything. But the probe did almost kill that SCV, who is now running for his life out of the base.
Yeah, most definitely. Now that Fun Dipper SCV having lots of fun there, having to run away from the probe. And it does look like our Protoss player is just chilling out. He is getting his first assimilator. Now, for you guys that are unfamiliar with the 6 mineral 1 high yield gas, that is a high yield gas. At least I do believe it is on this. Yeah, it is high yield on this map. So that means he's going to get quite a big burst of gas relatively early, at least compared to what he typically would get on a normal map. But in the end, it's going to be a little bit less than what he's used to getting as it kind of stabilizes later on in the game.
Yeah, by having one high yield gas and 6 mineral patches, there's exactly 25% less money available at each base. But if you just look around the map, this map is Crosspoint, created by IronMan, who is a fantastic map creator. He made
Yeah,
O'Hara for the
absolutely.
GSL. It's just he's really skilled. It's awesome that he made this map for the 6 mineral community. And you'll see that there's many just more bases to take around the map. And so by having less money at each one, but more bases, it encourages a lot of expanding and just aggressive macro play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it makes the game so much more fun to watch for me. Like, and to be honest, I was playing a ladder game earlier, and I'm not like saying one's better than the other, but I was playing a ladder game, and me and my opponent both were just sitting macroing and just building up a 200 army. And that's something you don't really see too much on maps like of the this variant. So like I said, it really creates more interesting, or at least more aggressive play. Not necessarily interesting, but definitely more aggressive.
Yeah, we can definitely see that in this game already. Both players going for very fast expansions and a bunker going down right at the front of FunDipper's base, which definitely implies that he's not going to have too many Marines to defend with. He's already going for the
Right.
factory, so I think it's very likely that we'll see a starport after this, because if he was going for a lot of like tanks or other things like that in order to defend, he just wouldn't need that static defensive structure.
Yeah, most definitely. And for those of you Protoss players that are out there, you will know that seeing a bunker at the top of a Terran's base, or at the top of a Terran's ramp, sorry, is pretty much a huge indicator that they are going for a high-tech build. Most likely will be a either 111 or just a Banshee, possibly Cloak Banshee. So keep that in mind, Protoss players, when you do play against your Terran opponents.
Yeah, though the 111, this is one of my favorite changes actually, is that the 111 can do damage, but is significantly less effective
Yeah,
off of
absolutely.
just one base and a few resources per map game. Because, for example, if anybody who is out there watching this ended up seeing the MLG finals, or actually not the finals, but the games leading up to the finals, you saw a lot of 111s against
Hmm.
Protoss, and they were very effective.
Yeah, and the thing is, if your initial aggression, or at least if you're doing like a one base play in the 6 mineral 1 high yield gas variant, you really, if you don't pull it off, you get punished so hard because you don't have that many resources left in your base to expand into macro on into the mid game. It's basically like a one. It is straight up all in. There's like no forgiveness going on. So it does look like FunDipper is trying to float his CC down to his expansion. He's going to be forced to move his Marines out of that bunker to get rid of the Stalker, and will successfully do that.
Yeah, he does chase that guy away, gives him a little bit more hull damage. There was a kind of failed poke up the ramp that also put some hull damage on that Stalker. But if you look at the production tab, we do see the first Banshee on the way, with Cloak a little bit less than halfway done, about halfway done right now. However, with very, very good play from Puget, he has already predicted this and has gone for the robotics facility with the first observer on the way.
Yeah, and something I will note is that the Terran play does have his third command center almost halfway finished, so he definitely has a good idea of how this map should be played. It's very aggressive expansions, or else you kind of just get lost in the macro of the game. If you stick to two base, you're not going to be as strong. You're really forced to expand to get what you want. So it does look like Puget is chilling out outside of the bottom of the ramp of FunDipper, maybe considering to push up here. He actually is going to do that, and he can actually manage to take out this bunker if he chooses to do so. Of course, SCVs are being pulled to repair, and really great force fields there by our Protoss player, so he is going to deny that bunker, or I'm sorry, eliminate that bunker, and deny this expansion for just a little bit. Of course, I don't think he's going to manage to force the, I'm sorry, to kill off that CC there.
Yeah, right now the army of FunDipper is practically a cardboard cutout. However, this Banshee is in the main. He's very nicely queued up to be killing off as many probes as possible, but that observer is out following him around, and there's already been a warp in of stalkers to try to deal with the Cloak Banshee. So he's up to 4 kills, but is going to have to run away, or he might actually just be killed right now. No, the needing to get up the ramp did end up saving that one Banshee, but it is almost out of health, and that's just never a good place to be when surviving is one of your goals.
Yeah, so that Banshee is down to 10 HP right now, which is great though for a Terran player. You really don't want to lose your Banshee if you can at all help it. Of course, you will be
Second
able to
Banshee in the
repair.
natural, though.
Oh yeah, there is another Banshee there. It currently has 6 kills. Sorry, I missed that, guys. And managed to clear out all of those workers right there.
Yeah, they all had to go running back into the main, but a second observer, I really, really like that decision. He knows that immortals are not what he needs right now. He just needs more vision around the map, and it lets him take out that Banshee the second it tries to poke back in. And still, this expansion is being denied from FunDipper. He cannot get into his natural.
Yeah, so both of these players doing an excellent amount of economic damage. Of course, the supply for Puget is 62 to 38 right now, and that is just simply because he has his second base up and running right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth noting that just because there are fewer resources in each base, so the game generally starts out a little bit slower, that does not mean there cannot be a lot of early aggression like what we've been seeing by these two players. And look at this. There's no observer with the main army, despite him having 2 on the field. So one stalker is already down, and the Cloak Banshee is going and hunting down the rest of these very high energy and valuable sentries.
Oh, absolutely. He's taking out those gas units, and like we said, there are fewer resources per base, so there's going to be less gas. And the more that he can eliminate heavy gas units, he's just going to benefit even more than he would normally. Now, it does look like Puget is moving up here with some more of his army to do, like I said, some more applied aggression. Now, there are quite a few Marauders on the map. Of course, they are at the top of the ramp, so they will have a good advantage against the Protoss player if he tries to push up the ramp. And I really don't think he could do any kind of breaking right now.
Yeah, I don't think that he just has the force to break this front door, particularly if a couple of bunkers get thrown down, and that would definitely be a good decision by FunDipper, our Terran player. So there is this third which has been landed, and I do think that that needs to be turned into a planetary fortress. Planetary fortresses are generally a lot more valuable in a fewer resources per base game, but more on that in a minute. He's poking up the ramp, immediately loses a stalker, and cuts right in half. He's forced those front units to engage the Zealots, but the Zealots are starting to die pretty quickly, but not before that front line of units is wiped out. And right now, those force fields are actually the only thing that is protecting FunDipper's very, very small remaining army from the Protoss forces.
Yeah, FunDipper in that battle right there, I really think he did not need to run down the ramp like that. I mean, those shields, or not the shields, I'm sorry, the force fields were inevitable. He really shouldn't have moved his army down there so they could get split up. But I guess he just felt like it was a good idea. Not the best in my opinion.
Yeah, right now Puget is attempting to equalize the base count. He's going for a Nexus at his third, and is just pulling back the rest of his forces. He was pretty scared, I think, by that one pushdown. He knows that that could have
Yeah.
gone a lot differently if he'd missed the force fields or just not looked at his army for a moment.
Yeah.
And so he's very wisely decided to just get back on his side of the map, try to take the advantage that he has. As we can see in the supply tab, he's about 20 supply up, so our Protoss player is definitely in the advantage, but he's moving across the middle of the map again.
Yeah, it does look like Terran has about 1, 2, 3. He's got about 7 Raxes, so he's going to be producing so many Marauders. And his upgrades, where are they at? He does have one in the attack upgrade, whereas our Protoss player does not have any upgrade right now. However, he is researching his attack first. I feel like he should probably go for shield first. And what do you think about going for shield first, even on this map variant? Do you think it's still a good idea, or do you think
Do you mean
attack first is
armor or
better?
shield?
I'm sorry, armor.
I do think that armor is generally the right decision against Terran, just because Marines are your main damage dealers, and they attack just so quickly for small amounts of damage that every point of armor is very valuable. But we do have a little bit of a fight in the middle, and unfortunately, those force fields were just not where they needed to be. They did not kill off any of the retreating units, and so that whole force is able to get right back into the Terran's base.
And it does look like FunDipper accidentally wasting a scan right there to try to take out that observer. Really didn't need to do that. And there goes quite a few minerals for him when you consider they could be used for mules or even scouting information, which is actually a very valuable resource in and of itself.
Yeah, that third is up for FunDipper, and you can already see the effect of having those additional bases. He's starting to even out that supply, particularly with the very large number of Raxes that you pointed out that he now has in his main.
Of course, Puget is coming in here, FunDipper and Puget are attacking each other. Puget does have the better vision because of the ramp, the better attack advantage. However, FunDipper with his medevacs and marauders will manage to push back this Protoss army. Does look like Puget's turning around to try to do some damage, but those zealots just getting concussive shelled to death. Not gonna really do anything right there.
I actually think that killing off that probe was a really, really nice thing for FunDipper to do, because if you were looking at the units that were being warped in, they were actually all sentries, and so he would have been able to hunt them down and kill them all. There was no way that they would have been able to stay alive after. They would not have turned the tide, essentially. And there is actually a massive load up, which is now moving around the right-hand side, right into the totally unprotected main. There's only 2 cannons there that were designed to deal with the Banshee harass.
Yeah, and it's gonna be pretty effective. I've got to say, it does look like Puget's army is down at his natural, so it's gonna take him a little bit of time to get up there to defend against this.
Yeah, and even when he does get up to defend against this is a lot of forces from the Terran player. 3 mostly full medevacs, with the medevacs hanging out over the bio and continuing to heal. That's just a lot of stuff to deal with. And there's no charge for the Zealots yet, and I just think that this force might be able to do crippling damage to the Protoss player.
Yeah, FunDipper is coming in here just doing so much. Of course, he's not really microing the absolute best. We'll eventually most likely have to lift off his units. Hopefully we'll be able to get out of there with his medevacs, though.
Yeah, he did definitely go for picking off very important tech structures. He got the robotics facility, and I believe forced to cancel on the Dark Shrine, or did I
Yeah, that Dark
see
Shrine
that wrong?
did not go up.
Yeah. So unfortunately, flying his medevac right by that lower thing, and as we see a stalker being warped in at the natural, and it just walks right up and kills off that totally full medevac. So the attack was definitely a very good idea, but not the best execution, and that has allowed Puget to maintain his lead.
Yeah, most definitely. Now we do have a 4th base coming from our Terran player, whereas Puget does have enough minerals to build a 4th base, but is not quite going for that just yet. Now, do you feel like, and this could be kind of up in the air, do you feel like he should go for a 4th, or should he commit to an attack and just mass up a huge army right now?
When we look at the army supply tab, we see that they're actually fairly close. They're only about 5 different from each other, and with the defender's advantage that FunDipper will have, all of his units will spawn out and immediately be able to get right into the fray. I do think that dedicating yourself to killing that 4th is a slightly less worthwhile option than just trying to take your 4th, continue attacking up. Also, Storm is almost done, which will give Puget a big advantage against this completely ghostless army. However, there is a big force moving right into the natural. There's a lot of Protoss stuff there, even without charge. That's just so many Zealots that it's not going to be able to be taken down particularly quickly.
Yeah, and FunDipper, of course, in a little bit of an awkward spot. However, he's going to go up into the 2nd base's expansion there, and we'll be taking on this Protoss army. Of course, now Puget's the one that's actually out of position here down at the bottom of the ramp, whereas Terran is at the top. However, I think that Puget has enough to deal with this. A really nice storm there going off from the High Templars. And FunDipper is just moving up into the natural, using that. Wow, he's really using that high ground advantage to his advantage.
He is going to have a lot of trouble trying to get out of here, though, because that medevac is so close to dead. There's no chance of him getting back up into it, but killing the High Templar, or the Templar Archives, I should say, the High Templar Den, is a very, very big win for him. And he was targeting down that one last pylon. Doesn't quite get it, though. He is unfortunately killed off.
Now, I do believe that I am a little bit ahead of you, so tell me when you get to 2122.
Alrighty, that will be right now.
Okay, awesome. Just wanted to get synced up. Sorry, guys, for that. For some reason, our computers don't really want to get along or something.
Yeah,
So,
there's been a consistent problem, and one that we're definitely hoping to deal with before the FRB Grand Tournament.
oh,
Paul, tell us a
yeah.
little bit about the FRB Grand
Yeah, I
Tournament.
forgot we haven't really mentioned it in our videos. Guys, for those of you that have been enjoying this cast, or these casts rather, the FRB cast, there is going to be a tournament that we are holding next month. April, of course, or actually, is it April?
It is
Yeah,
April.
it is April.
So it's a
Sorry.
little bit in the beginning of May.
Yeah, so we're going to be holding it next month, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we'll probably have about 16 players in it, possibly more, but most likely 16. And we're looking for at least Masters players. Of course, we're not going to turn you away if we obviously don't have enough to fill it out. So please apply to that tournament. If you want to, you can check out the post at teamliquid.net. We will post a link in the video. Meanwhile, though, Puget is moving in here to FunDipper's 4th base, and even though it is a planetary fortress, he is going to be able to take it out, and that's actually a huge hit there for Puget.
Yeah, losing that one base is a large part of his economy, particularly as we see the main is mostly mined out. The natural is also quite close to mined out. However, I'm worried that Puget's kind of overstaying his welcome here. This is a pretty big bioforce coming in, and if he's able to snipe those two very valuable, the Immortal and the Archon, like he just did, right now these Zealots are trying to get through a very narrow choke created by his own force field, and they're just getting eaten up by this bio. It's right now 1-1 bio against just one attack Protoss forces, and so now that all the Zealots are gone, the Marauders with medevac support against the Stalkers is just completely one-sided. All these Stalkers are going to die.
Yeah, Terran managed to clean that up really well there. He also is doing another attack down at the 4th of Protoss, which he's actually not been able to do that much damage. However, all the units that were down there have been eliminated, and he may manage to take out this Nexus. Puget being forced to move his probes there, and actually gets a really good surround against these Marauders, so he will be able to save this Nexus, but at what cost? He's just lost a ton of probes right there. Wow.
Yeah, when we look at the units tab, it's now 42 probes against 30 SCVs. However, there are 4 mules running, so the income is definitely favoring the Terran player right now. And he's just kind of moving his army around a little indecisively. He looks like he has a very large force, but doesn't quite know what he wants to do with it.
Yeah, this is a very awkward stage for both of these players. I feel like they're trying to decide, hey, should I keep macroing hard right now? Should I rebuild any like lost workers that I have, or should I just commit to an attack? So
it is worth noting that for the pretty much first time since the Banshee Harass did not quite do as much damage as FunDipper was hoping, he's back in the supply lead.
Oh, wow.
And because of his worker deficit, that means his army is considerably larger than his opponents, and he's marching right down towards this 4th and really looking to take it out.
Yeah, it does look like he is for sure going for that. Of course, Puget is there. He does have quite a few High Templars, and some really good storms could save him here. Will he land those, though? Actually, not even attacking with a lot of what he had. And I don't know, this is going to be really rough for Puget.
Yeah, this is unfortunately a very awkward attack from him. However, a couple of very good storms do soften up those bio units quite a bit. However, like the charged Zealots, some of them charged in, and then he tried to pull back, and then some more charged in, and then he tried to pull them back. There was one very, very good storm right there, and if he just had one more force field, he would have been able to trap a huge amount of that bio. However, he is now totally out of energy on both his High Templars and his Sentries, and is just desperately trying to warp in as many charged Zealots as he can.
Yeah, both of these players do have 1-1 each. However, FunDipper's micro is just really winning him these battles, and he does manage to take out that 4th base.
I do really, really like that through all of this, FunDipper has taken his his main and moved it over to his fourth base, because once the main is mined out, there's absolutely no reason to leave it there. He can just move that base over and begin putting it to work.
Now, it does look like there are about 4 zealots over here at the fourth base of FunDipper, so he's going to be denying any mining for the time being. And very smart move, economically damaging his Terran opponent.
And finally, FunDipper has found that one pylon. I do have to say, this is not the original version that I did an analysis of Crosspoint by IronMan, and this one high ground and the one on the opposite side does honestly look to me like a just gigantic piece of proxy pylon bait. I can just see proxy pylons being there like every game, to the point where they might, like, Protoss players might just stop putting proxy pylons there because everybody knows that's where you're going to put it, so they just send a Zergling there to kill it.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right there. Now, do you feel like we covered, well, we kind of have a downtime as far as attacks go. Did we cover the tournament? Is there anything else you wanted to say about that?
I would just say that if you're interested in taking part in the tournament, go to Team Liquid and search for the FRB Grand Tournament in the StarCraft 2 tournaments section. We are looking for the best players, and if you're looking to get involved yourself, you can also write to the really well-known casters and the really well-known players and encourage them to take part in the tournament. It would be really, really great to have some of those guys on board. There's a small Zealot harass going into the fourth, however, with just a couple of Marauders and a little bit of micro, those Zealots are cleaned up pretty easily by the Terran player.
Yeah, Protoss unfortunately, just can't handle, that many Zealots cannot handle Marauders with Concussive Shell. There's just no way. As long as our Terran player micros well, he'll just do so well. Now, it does look like our Terran player is going to be coming down here. He is at 113 supply versus 88, now 92 for the Protoss player. And this small group of units here is going to get caught so out of position. A decent storm getting dodged completely, though, by our Terran player. And there's another storm which only gets a few units there. It looks like Terran is going to be able to clean this up so easily. Wow, excellent job in macro by our Terran player.
Yeah, he spread out his units very, very effectively, and that was just allowed him to completely make up for his lack of ghosts. He just dodged the storms. He didn't even need to worry about it, and he's now moving right into this third, and there's a lot of production here too. I'm worried that it's now 47 supply against 102, and so I don't think that this is going to be very good for our Protoss player. This might be lights out.
Yeah, I just really don't see Protoss recovering from this at all. He does have a Nexus at the gold base though, so that is decent. Unfortunately, he's just lost so much. It's just
there was a Zealot harass moving into the third as well. However, the Planetary Fortress there was able to mostly defend against it, and just the rallying reinforcements of the Terran player were able to deal with it.
Yeah, so it does look like Puget here is holding on. Of course, he's just a little bit upset that he's lost this game, but that's alright. We all do it. No problem at all.
Yes, indeed. For those who don't know, we were actually in the 7M channel. Excuse me, starting to lose my voice. We were actually in the 7M channel as these games were being played, and these two players, Puget and FunDipper, were playing against each other a lot. They went with a lot of very good back-and-forth games, and Puget actually generally came out on top, so I don't think that this is necessarily a representative game of how they were doing. I know that Puget would like you all to know that he actually won the majority of those games.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good Protoss player, and has expressed his interest in taking part in the tournament, so I really am looking forward to having the opportunity to inviting him into that.
Yeah, hopefully he can bring us some pretty boss builds, maybe get some Dark Templar play, he's been doing that quite a lot.
Yeah, we have noticed him put Dark Templar to incredibly effective use against FunDipper, actually, in a couple of games as well. And now it does look like the game is pretty much over. There's just a little bit of back and forth talk going on between the players. So I'm going to use this time to say that if you're interested in more casts like these, or are looking to know where the VODs, video on demands, are going to be posted for the FRB Grand Tournament, you should know that my YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/wiseoldsenex. And Pull, where can they find you at?
You guys can always find me at youtube.com/PullSC. And if you're ever looking for a stream, you can go to twitch.tv/PullSC. Do you have your stream set up yet?
I do have my stream set up, but I've not done very much streaming yet. Okay. That will be twitch.tv/wiseoldsenex. When it is actually being run, we're going to be, that's going to be one of the two streams that's going to be featured with the tournament. But unfortunately, I just haven't really used it that much yet, and I will be doing that more soon.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said at the beginning of the game, please subscribe if you want to and leave feedback. We need feedback so we can get better and provide highly entertaining streams and highly entertaining VODs for you guys.
Alrighty, so thanks everybody for watching. This is Senex, and
And Pool signing out.
all right.